By the end of this video, you're going to learn 3 ways that you can build wealth for your retirement without having to sacrifice the lifestyle that you want today. So whether you're just starting to plan or getting closer to retirement, these tips are going to make a big difference. And keep in mind, not all tips are created equal, and the last one that I share with you is by far my favorite, so make sure you stick around for it. All right, let's kick it off with the first tip, and it's the one that most people don't take full advantage of. That's maxing out your 401k and your Roth IRA. Now, I know you're thinking, Jonathan, I've heard this before. Is it really that important? Well, it actually is. That's the one thing that could be the foundation for building serious wealth over time without having to actually sacrifice your lifestyle today. Now, I know it sounds boring, but consider a recent study from Fidelity that the number one way Americans are becoming millionaires isn't through real estate, starting your own business, or being part of a startup. The number one way is actually consistent investing through automatic contributions into retirement accounts. They found that there are more 401k millionaires just at Fidelity than there's ever been. So now let's break it down. See, the contribution limits for 2024 are set at $22,500 for your 401k. And if you're over 50, you actually get to an additional catch-up contribution for $7,500. That puts it at $30,000 if you're over the age of 50. Now for a Roth IRA, the limit is $6,500 and $7,500 if you're over 50. That's a total of up to $30,000 in tax advantage savings per year if you're maxing out both accounts, or even more if you're eligible for that catch-up contribution. Now that might sound like a lot of money, but here's where the magic happens. The beauty of retirement accounts like 401ks and Roth IRAs is that they provide tax benefits. With a 401k, you get the benefit of tax-deferred growth, meaning that you're not taxed on the gains until you actually withdraw the money in retirement. On the other side, a Roth IRA grows tax-free, so your earnings and withdrawals are tax-free as long as you follow the rules. Now, the most important aspect of all of this comes down to what Albert Einstein called the 8th wonder of the world, and that's compound interest. Let's say that you contribute $22,500 a year starting at the age of 30, and you earn an average of 7% per year. By the time you're 65, you could be looking at about $2.8 million just in that one account. And that's just from steady contributions and compound growth. That's without considering any company match, which is essentially free money. In fact, a 2021 study by Vanguard showed that employees who took full advantage of their employer match saw an average increase of 40% in their retirement savings over that time. That's a lot of money. Now let's talk about the Roth IRA for a second. One of the biggest advantages here is tax-free growth. Imagine being in retirement and knowing that every single dollar that you withdraw from your Roth IRA is 100% yours, no taxes. Uncle Sam's not touching that one. This is crucial because you don't know what tax rates are going to look like in the future. And if you believe taxes might go up, then the Roth IRA is actually a powerful hedge against future tax increases. In fact, a study by the Tax Policy Center estimated that income taxes could rise by as much as 4% by 2040 due to government spending and debt. So locking in today's tax rates with a Roth IRA means that you're protecting yourself from those potential increases. Now, there are income limits on Roth IRAs, and based on your income, you might want to consider whether or not an employer-sponsored retirement plan has a Roth aspect to it, or consider a backdoor Roth IRA. No matter what, any savings you do today takes away from money that you can spend today. But trust me, I've seen both sides of the story. A client of mine, we'll call her Sarah, started contributing to both her 401k and Roth IRA at the age of 28. For years, she just assumed that the contributions were small and they weren't going to make much of a difference in her long-term retirement plan. Now, fast forward 15 years, Sarah's accumulated over $500,000 in those accounts. The key for her was consistency. She didn't feel like she had missed out on life. She still takes vacations, goes out socially, and really does everything that she always enjoyed. But now she has a strong foundation for retirement because she stayed disciplined and maxed out her accounts. On the other side, I've seen so many people struggle with saving for later in life today because they feel like they're missing out on their lifestyle right now. Now you might be wondering, how do I max out these contributions without giving up on things like traveling or family vacations? That's a great question. But the key starts with prioritizing. Start with your 401k, and if you have an employer match, make sure you take advantage of that because that's free money and you never want to leave free money on the table. Then depending on your income, shift your focus to the Roth IRA because of its long-term tax-free benefits. And if you still have room, then come back to maxing out your 401k. Think of it this way. Maxing out doesn't mean that you have to dramatically alter your lifestyle. If you break it down, for a 401k, you're looking at $1,875 per month. And for a Roth IRA, that's $541 a month. Many people can make this work by reallocating discretionary spending, maybe cutting back on a couple dinners, or maybe some subscription fees that we all know that we can't cancel. Now, you won't feel the major difference now, but trust me, down the road, you'll really thank yourself. One of the best things about saving in your 401k is that the contributions are automated. Once you get that paycheck, it's already come out and it's already invested. So maxing out your 401k and Roth IRAs is one of the smartest ways to grow your retirement savings while still living the life that you want today. Because remember, time is your best friend here. The earlier you start, the more you take advantage of that compound growth, and the less you'll have to rely on cutting back in your retirement years, because it's about building wealth and enjoying life at the exact same time. All right, let's dive into the second tip for building wealth and retiring comfortably. Look for ways to earn passive income. Now, why is this important? That's because building passive income streams is a cornerstone of financial freedom. Whether you're looking to retire in your 50s or you just want to boost your income while enjoying life today, passive income can give you that cushion to make it happen. Now, the two most common forms of passive income that I've seen are real estate and dividend-paying stocks. So let's start with real estate. According to the Federal Reserve's 2019 survey of consumer finances, the primary residence accounts for roughly 25% of assets for American households. That shows how powerful real estate can be in building wealth. And it doesn't stop there. Investment properties like rental homes, vacation properties generate cash flow in the form of rental income while also appreciating over time. In fact, over the last 30 years, U.S. home prices have increased by an average of 5.4% annually. I know investors who, through owning a handful of rental properties, have been able to fully cover their retirement expenses without touching a single dollar of their investment accounts. Now, how? It's because real estate generates consistent monthly income, and over the long term, it's one of the most stable and appreciating assets that you can hold. But it's not all sunshine and roses. Real estate is definitely not truly passive, and there are a lot of things you got to be aware of. Managing properties can be a lot of work, and dealing with tenants, repairs, unexpected vacancies, and legal issues is just all a part of the game. Sure, you can always hire a property manager, but that cuts into your cash flow, and don't forget, there's a lot of initial costs that go into real estate. It's very capital intensive. You got the down payment, let's not forget about the mortgage, property taxes, insurance, and upkeep. Also, real estate is illiquid. If you need access to that money, quickly selling property takes time and markets can fluctuate, making it very hard to offload at the right moment. But if owning and managing properties isn't your thing, that's where dividend stocks come in. And this is why they're very popular. Dividend stocks are companies that pay you just for owning their shares. You can generate passive income by investing in established dividend-paying companies, many of which have had a track record of not only paying dividends, but also increasing them year after year. In fact, a study from Hartford Funds found that between 1960 and 2021, 84% of the returns in the S&P 500 came from reinvesting dividends and compounding growth. It's not just stock price increases. There are companies like Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Johnson & Johnson that have been paying and growing their dividends for decades. And that's not a recommendation to go out and buy those companies, but those are just a few examples of blue chip companies that pay a consistent dividend, and there are dozens more. Imagine owning shares of a company like this and each quarter receiving a cash payout. You can use that money to live off of, or you can reinvest it in your portfolio and let that continue to grow. But keep in mind, dividend stocks, they're not without their risks either. Unlike rental income from real estate, dividends aren't guaranteed. Companies, they can either reduce or eliminate their dividend payments during tough economic times. I personally remember during 2008 and the financial crisis, a number of large companies either reduced or completely just cut their dividend. That's why going onto Yahoo Finance or any other website and trying to find the highest yielding stock can become a trap. The high dividend will lure you in, and if that dividend isn't sustainable, then the company can just cut it, which would most likely make income investors sell the stock, which means you also have to think about the market volatility. The value of your stocks can drop significantly in a market downturn, which can make it extremely stressful if you're relying on that income. And while dividends can provide a nice cash flow, they're also taxable, so you need to be prepared for the impact on your tax situation. And finally, relying too heavily on any single dividend stock can be risky. A company's business model might change, its market share could shrink, or it could face unexpected competition or regulatory issues, leading to a cut in dividend or a total collapse in the stock. I mean, we all remember Enron, Lehman Brothers, those type of examples, right? So what's the takeaway here? Both real estate and dividend-paying stocks provide the potential for capital appreciation and cash flow, but they come at their own set of challenges and risks. Real estate can be labor-intensive and illiquid, while dividend stocks can be unpredictable and subject to market swings. It's important to weigh these pros and cons when you think about your own personal tolerance for risk and involvement during, when diving in. But when done right, these two methods can be huge in your journey to retire comfortably without having to sacrifice your dream lifestyle. The goal is to find ways to earn additional income, and whether you use that income to save and invest more while you're younger, or you end up using that income when you're retired just to live off of. On top of it, those are just two examples of the most popular ways to earn passive income. There's so many other things that you consider depending on your preferences. I mean, you could start a YouTube channel. You could rent out your personal assets like Turo or Airbnb for cars and properties. I've seen people buying vending machines and laundromats. Anything you could do to help you earn more while you're working will increase the probability of success of retirement. All right, now that we've covered passive income, let's move on to the third and final tip. Budgeting for the life you want and adjusting it annually is critical for long-term financial success. See, many people, they see budgeting as restrictive, something that forces them to cut back and live frugally. However, a well-designed budget should be reflective of your lifestyle, goals, and the future that you want. It's not just about now, it's also about what you want in retirement. A study from the Employee Benefit Research Institute shows that individuals who regularly update and manage their budget are 33% more likely to feel financially secure in retirement compared to those who don't. So the key is to create a budget that supports your lifestyle that you want to live, not one that forces you into unnecessary sacrifices. So imagine two retirees, one that follows a tight budget but feels deprived, skipping vacations and dinners out, and the other plans their budget to include a lot of key experiences like travel, hobbies, and the occasional luxury, and balancing out spending in other areas that aren't as important to them. The studies show that retirees who align their spending with their personal values tend to feel more satisfied and less anxious about their finance. One crucial factor to remember is to revisit your budget annually. See, life is unpredictable, and your priorities will likely shift over time. For instance, you may want to travel more in the early years of retirement, but later on, you might prioritize comfort and healthcare needs. So adjusting your budget each year gives you that flexibility to adapt while keeping you on track to your long-term financial goals. And healthcare is one of the most underestimated expenses in retirement. In fact, a recent study by Fidelity found that the average couple retiring at age 65 will need around $315,000 to cover healthcare costs throughout their retirement. So by proactively adjusting your budget annually, you can ensure that you're prepared for these future expenses. Inflation, that's also another important consideration. Over the past 50 years, the average inflation rate has been about 3.8%, meaning that the cost of living will rise over time. Revisiting your budget yearly will help you account for inflation and make adjustments to your spending areas that may no longer align with your priorities. Working with a financial advisor can also be a very smart strategy. A small adjustment can lead to significant long-term growth, as we talked about with compounding growth. Your budget doesn't have to be set in stone. It should evolve as your life does. But by budgeting for the life you want and making adjustments each year, you can enjoy your dream lifestyle today without running out of money later on in retirement. Imagine your financial life as building a house. See, when you start, you always have a blueprint in mind for your dream home, in this case, your dream retirement lifestyle. And you lay the foundation, putting in place the basic structure to support your future. But as you continue building, the project usually evolves, and maybe you want to add an extra room or upgrade the kitchen or adjust the layout to better suit your needs. If you don't stop to make adjustments, your house may not turn out the way that you originally envisioned, or worse, it could become completely unstable. And just like working with contractors, very rarely does life come under budget, unless it's diligently tracked. So to wrap up, remember, maxing out your 401k and Roth IRA contributions can really supercharge your retirement savings. Finding ways to earn passive income like investing in real estate or dividend stocks can help you max out your savings or supplement your lifestyle today. And adjusting your budget each year lets you live the life that you want now while planning for the future. It's all about balance and smart financial planning. If you found these tips helpful, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell so that you don't miss any of our future content. I would love to also hear your top retirement tips. Is there anything that you're doing that you think others could benefit from? Shoot us an email and share your thoughts. As always, if you have questions or need help with your own personal retirement plan, use the link in the description below, and we're always here to help. Until next time, take care and keep planning for the retirement that you deserve.